Okay, this is about the development of social cognition throughout life, throughout our lifespan. Now, what we know is that social cognition, well, first of all, let's define social cognition. This is all about the ability of people to understand and to interact with other people in a social context. So it involves processes like perception, attention, memory, decision-making, a lot of executive functioning. And this is really a skill that we start to develop in infancy, just when we're babies, and it continues throughout our entire life through different experiences, genetic conditions, and it's influenced by both environmental and biological factors. So I want to have a little bit of a look at, well, the development of social cognition throughout the lifespan and how it impacts your professional and your personal performance. And we'll also dig into, well, we'll dip into, in the time that we've got, the underlying neuroscience and also the philosophy and ways in which it can be improved. Because nothing's fixed, right? We can change anything, really. Now, firstly, let's consider how social cognition develops throughout the lifespan. Now, in infancy, social cognition, it's really basic, it's really rudimentary, because infants, they have limited abilities to understand social cues and to understand emotions. However, as they develop and as infants begin to recognize the world around them, because remember, they're seeing a lot of stuff for the first time, and it's really wild when you think about that. They start to recognize things like facial expressions, vocal intonations, body language, at a that's like the first stuff that we learn. And these are all really key components of social cognition. Now, during childhood, social cognition, it becomes more complex, and children begin to understand the perspectives and the intentions of others. So this is now developing that and moving past just recognizing things. And this development continues throughout adolescence and into adulthood. And it's at that point that people are really able to use their social cognition skills to form and to maintain relationships and to make decisions in social context. Now, the development of social cognition has really significant impacts on both personal and professional performance. And in personal relationships, people with well-developed social cognition skills, they're better communicators. They're able to communicate more effectively, they're able to resolve conflicts easier, and they find it easier to maintain healthy relationships. Now, on the other hand, people with poor or lacking social cognition skills, they might struggle in their personal relationships, and this can lead to things like social isolation, poor mental health, so all of the stuff that we don't want. Now, when we take that from the personal and we look at that in professional settings, social cognition, it's just as important because it affects your ability to work in teams, to negotiate, and to communicate with colleagues, clients, customers, everybody. And people with strong cognition skills, they're more likely to be successful in their careers, and people with poor social cognition skills might struggle to succeed and to get ahead. Now, why does that happen? Well, let's have a little bit of a look at the underlying neuroscience and also some of the philosophy of social cognition. And social cognition, when we look at it neurologically, it's supported by several different neural networks in the brain, your mirror neuron system, the default mode network, and the theory of mind network. And your mirror neuron system, we know this one, it's responsible for empathy and imitation. Your default mode network, this is the one that basically is on while everything's off, while we're sleeping. It's involved in self-reflection and mentalizing. And the theory of mind network, this is responsible for understanding the mental states of others. So these three networks, they work together to allow people to understand and interact with other people in a social context. Why can't anything be easy, right? Why can't it just be like, it does this? It's never that. Everything is interconnected. And it's the same when we look at it from a philosophical perspective. In terms of philosophy, social cognition is closely linked to the concept of intersubjectivity, which refers to the shared understanding between individuals in a social context. Now, there's a philosopher, Martin Buber, and he basically says that it's this shared understanding which is essential for authentic human relationships, and this is based on mutual respect and recognition of the other's subjectivity. So what this philosophy highlights is the importance of empathy and understanding in social cognition. And it also emphasizes the need for people to see others as individuals with their own thoughts, with their own feelings, and with their own perspectives. Now, lastly, let's consider ways in which social cognition can be improved, because nothing's fixed. And one way is through social skills and cognitive training, which involves teaching people specific social skills and reinforcing the neural pathways around the skills that we want, like listening and communication, assertiveness, influence, decision-making, conflict resolution. And we can also do things like mindfulness practices, meditation, yoga, tai chi, and this can help you to develop greater self-awareness and better empathy. And when we develop greater self-awareness and empathy, this improves our social cognition. Okay, so let's sum it all up. We know that social cognition is really complex. It's a dynamic process that develops throughout the lifespan. It starts all the way in infancy, changes in the middle, keeps happening throughout adulthood, and it keeps being molded by our experiences, by our environment, with those genetic factors really driving things from the fundamental level as well. But it has a huge impact on our personal and our professional performance. And when we look at the kinds of impacts on both personal and professional performance, they are profound, and they are things that we are still in control of. And when we look at the neuroscience and the philosophy of social cognition, they both They both empathize, the importance of empathy, and the importance of understanding, and the importance of mutual respect in social interactions. So when we're looking for strategies for improving social cognition, we know that this includes things like social skills and cognitive training and mindfulness practice to help us cultivate those skills that we need. And when we talk about all of this belongs to a branch of neuroscience called developmental neuroscience. And this is a really, really complex area that our knowledge and our understanding of it is growing and developing constantly as well. There's a lot of activity in this space. And as our understanding of social cognition continues to evolve, which is going to be through us looking at developmental neuroscience and how we're constantly developing this, our understanding of social cognition will evolve. And it's likely that new approaches and new interventions will emerge to help people develop stronger social cognition skills and to improve their relationships and their overall well-being. But until then, let's be kind to each other. Let's do the right thing. Let's try to understand people, because it's really a big part of it is that perspective taking and understanding that everybody's taken a different way of travel to get to where we are right now. And if you want to start to improve it, look at improving your cognitive skills. Look at improving those social skills that are going to have an impact on helping you get the things that you want out of life. That's all for now. See you soon.